I spent 3 days unconscious in the ICU, and my daughter chose a birthday party instead. My name is George Campbell, and I'm 72 years old. For 8 years since my wife died, I thought I was building bridges with my daughter Rebecca. I was wrong. I was building her a lifestyle she couldn't afford, while she treated me like an inconvenience she couldn't escape. When I nearly died and she picked her husband's milestone birthday over my bedside, I realized it was time to show her exactly what my love had been worth, in dollars and cents. I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I did something much more effective. I got out my calculator. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you are watching from. This is the story of how 3 days changed everything, and why sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is let them fall. Let me paint you a picture of my relationship with Rebecca. Last Christmas, she canceled our dinner 2 hours before I was supposed to arrive. Her text message read, "Dad, Christopher's parents surprised us with theater tickets." Rain check? Rain check, like I was a dentist appointment. I'd spent 3 hours making her mother's famous pot roast recipe, the same one Rebecca claimed to miss so much. I ate alone, watching It's a Wonderful Life, while she posted Instagram photos from Hamilton with her in-laws. That wasn't unusual. It was Tuesday. For Easter, she invited me to Christopher's family gathering. I sat at the children's table because there wasn't enough room with the adults. I'm 72. I watched Rebecca laugh with Christopher's mother about vacation plans I'd never heard mentioned. But here's what really stung. When Christopher's father told stories about the good old days, Rebecca hung on every word. When I tried sharing memories of her childhood, she'd check her phone or find excuses to leave. "Dad, you've told that story before," became her favorite response. The pattern was clear. Christopher's family got her attention. I got her obligation. 2 weeks before my hospital stay, she called asking about money. Not, "How are you feeling, Dad?" or "Want to grab lunch?" Just straight to business. "Dad, can you help with Emma's dance camp? It's $1,500, but she really wants to go." Emma's my granddaughter. Of course I said yes. "You're a lifesaver, Dad. Christopher's been stressed about money lately." Stressed about money, while driving a $50,000 truck I was helping him pay for. I asked if we could grab coffee that weekend. Maybe see Emma's recital. "Oh, Dad, we're swamped." "Maybe next month?" Next month never came. It never does. The day before my collapse, Rebecca called with an update about Christopher's birthday plans. "We're doing something big at the Heritage Club. Christopher's turning 50, so his whole family's flying in. It's going to be amazing." "Sounds nice," I said. "What day? Tuesday evening? Why, just curious." I didn't mention my doctor's appointment that afternoon, the one where he'd said my blood pressure readings were concerning. "Dad? You there?" "I'm here." "Good. Listen, can you transfer the usual amount today instead of Friday? I need to pay the caterer." The usual amount, $2,800, monthly, for 8 years. But I'll get to that. I transferred the money that afternoon. Then I drove to Kroger for groceries. That's where I collapsed in aisle 7, next to the breakfast cereals. The paramedic said I was unconscious when they found me. My wallet was in my back pocket with Rebecca's emergency contact information written on a card behind my driver's license. They called her immediately. While I was being rushed to Mercy General Hospital, Rebecca was at the salon getting ready for Christopher's party. I know because the hospital called her 4 times that evening. I've seen the phone records. 4 times. No answer. No returned calls. No show. Tuesday passed. I was stable but unconscious. The nurses checked their visitor log. No family. Wednesday morning brought no visitors. Wednesday afternoon, nothing. Wednesday night, quiet. Not one family member crossed the threshold of room 314, because Rebecca was busy. Christopher's milestone birthday required her full attention. When I finally opened my eyes Thursday morning, Nurse Patricia Evans was checking my IV. "Mr. Campbell, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck. How long was I out?" 3 days. You gave us quite a scare." I looked around the empty room. No flowers, no cards, no sign anyone knew I existed. Did my daughter come by? Patricia's expression shifted. She'd seen this before. "Let me check the visitor log." She came back with clipboard. Her voice was gentle but clear. "I'm sorry, Mr. Campbell. No visitors were logged for your room." That's when everything clicked into place. Let me tell you what I realized lying in that hospital bed. For 8 years, I'd been financing Rebecca's life, not just helping, financing. After Linda died in 2016, I wanted to stay close to Rebecca. She was struggling. Christopher had just started his own business. Money was tight with 2 young kids, so I helped. Dad, can you cover our mortgage this month? Christopher's waiting on a big contract. Dad, the car died. We need something reliable for the kids. Dad, Emma needs braces. Insurance only covers half. Each request came with a story. Each story came with a promise. We'll pay you back when things turn around. Things never turned around. They got more expensive. Let me break down the numbers for you. Monthly mortgage assistance, $800. Rebecca's BMW payment, $850. Christopher's truck payment, $520. Both car insurance policies, $300 combined. Cell phone plan for their family, $125. Private school tuition for Emma and Jake, $1,600 each. That's $3,200 total. Rebecca's credit card payments when she overspent, usually $400 to $600 monthly. Utilities during winter months, another $200 to $300. Medical co-pays for the kids averaging $150 monthly, added up $2,800 every single month for 96 months. I did the math lying in that hospital bed. $268,800, nearly $270,000. And that doesn't count the emergencies. The vacation to Disney World because the kids need memories. The new appliances when theirs broke. The home repairs Christopher couldn't afford. Probably another $30,000 in extras over 8 years. Let's say $300,000 total. Here's what Rebecca never realized. I wasn't rich. I was careful. I'm a retired accountant. I spent 40 years managing budgets for small businesses. I understand money. When Linda died, we had savings. Our house was paid off. I had my pension and Social Security. Enough for a comfortable retirement, not enough to fund 2 households indefinitely. I was burning through my retirement to maintain Rebecca's lifestyle. A lifestyle she'd grown to expect. A lifestyle she couldn't afford without me. But here's the part that really hurt. Rebecca never asked about my finances. Never wondered how a retired accountant could afford $800 monthly transfers. Never questioned whether I might be struggling. She just assumed the money would always be there. Like I would always be there. Lying in that hospital bed, I realized what I'd created. Not a grateful daughter, an entitled dependent. Rebecca treated me like an inconvenience because that's what I'd allowed myself to become. A walking ATM with emotional needs she didn't want to deal with. The money came without strings. No questions asked. No gratitude required. Just automatic transfers and casual disrespect. Thanks, Dad. You're the best. Then back to her real life, the one that didn't include me unless she needed financing. I thought about the last 8 years. How many family dinners had I missed because I wasn't invited? How many birthdays, graduations, soccer games where I sat alone or wasn't told about it all? I remembered Emma's spring recital. I found out about it 3 days later when Rebecca posted photos on Facebook. I asked why I wasn't invited. Oh, Dad, I thought you might be tired. It was on a school night. Tired, at 7 p.m. But Christopher's parents sat front row. They got professional photos with Emma afterward. I got Facebook posts I wasn't tagged in. That's when I understood the real cost of my generosity. I hadn't been buying Rebecca's love. I'd been purchasing her tolerance. And even that was wearing thin. If I kept silent about this hospital abandonment, what message did that send? That I accepted being discarded? That my feelings didn't matter as long as the checks cleared? If I kept sending money after this, what would happen next time I needed her? Would she be too busy for my funeral too? I realized I had a choice. I could continue being Rebecca's silent ATM, keep funding her lifestyle while accepting scraps of attention, keep enabling her entitled behavior while my own retirement disappeared, or I could do something I should have done years ago, set boundaries, real ones, with consequences, not out of anger, out of self-respect. The woman who couldn't visit her father's hospital bedside for 3 days didn't deserve $300,000 of his retirement savings. Time to see if Rebecca loved me or just my bank account. I had a feeling I was about to find out. Thursday afternoon, my phone rang. I was still groggy from the medication, but I recognized the ringtone, Rebecca. Dad, oh my God, I just heard what? That you're in the hospital. Why didn't you call me? I stared at the ceiling. The audacity was breathtaking. I've been unconscious for 3 days, Rebecca. Hard to make phone calls when you're in a coma. Well, nobody told me. I had no idea. The hospital called you Tuesday night, 4 times. Silence. Rebecca? Tuesday was really busy. Christopher's birthday was... I know what Tuesday was. More silence. I could practically hear her recalculating. Dad, I'm sorry. I was overwhelmed with party planning. You know how stressful these big events are. Stressful. Planning a party while your father lies unconscious. How are you feeling now? She asked, switching gears. Are you okay? I'm alive. Good, good. Listen, when do you think you'll be released? Straight to logistics. No emotion, no guilt, no real concern. Friday, probably. Great. So you'll be home this weekend? Rebecca, why are you asking? Well, I wanted to talk to you about something important. Here it comes. Dad, Christopher and I have been talking about your will. I nearly dropped the phone. My will? Yeah, we think it's time to update it. You know, make sure everything's in order. In case something like this happens again. In case something like this happens again. Translation, in case you actually die next time. Rebecca, I just woke up from a 3-day coma. I know, Dad. That's why we need to be smart about this. Look what almost happened. What almost happened. Like my near-death experience was an inconvenience for her inheritance timeline. What exactly are you suggesting? Well, we think you should consider moving to assisted living. Somewhere with medical staff. It's safer. Assisted living. She wanted me warehoused. And Christopher found this great financial planner who specializes in estate transfers. He could help us streamline everything. Streamline everything. Code 4, get control of my money while I'm still breathing. Rebecca, are you serious right now? Dad, don't get upset. We're thinking about your best interests. My best interests, while not visiting my hospital bed. Whose idea was this conversation? It was mutual. Christopher and I both... Christopher. We both think... How much do you think I'm worth, Rebecca? The question caught her off guard. What do you mean? How much money do you think you're inheriting? Dad, that's not... We don't think about it like that. Humor me. Ballpark figure. Another pause. I could hear her breathing change. I don't know. Maybe 200,000? The house is paid off. 200,000. She had no idea. Rebecca, do you remember your mother's funeral? Of course. Why? Do you remember what I said in my eulogy? Dad, what does this have to do with... I said your mother was my whole world. That I'd give anything to have more time with her. I remember. Do you know what I would have given? For one more conversation? One more dinner? Dad, $300,000 wouldn't have been enough. 3 million wouldn't have been enough. Why are you talking about 300,000? I'd said too much. But maybe it was time. Because that's what I've given you, Rebecca. Dead silence. What? $300,000 over 8 years. Maybe you should understand what you're inheriting before planning how to spend it. Dad, I don't understand what you're saying. $2,800 monthly for 96 months, plus extras. It adds up. You're saying you've given me $300,000? I've given you a lifestyle you couldn't afford. There's a difference. The silence stretched. I could hear machines beeping in other rooms. Dad, we had no idea. You had no idea because you never asked. You just took. That's not fair. You offered to help. I offered to help temporarily. 8 years isn't temporary, Rebecca. You never said anything about stopping. You never said anything about visiting your father's hospital bed either. That landed. Dad, I explained about Tuesday. You explained about Christopher's party. What about Wednesday? What about Thursday morning? I was going to come today. Were you, before or after the inheritance conversation? Another silence. Dad, that's not... We really were worried about you. Worried about me or worried about your monthly allowance? That's a horrible thing to say. Is it? Because I'm starting to wonder which one you'd miss more. Dad, you're being unfair. We're grateful for everything. Grateful? When's the last time you said thank you? We say thank you all the time. When, Rebecca? Specifically when? Nothing. When's the last time you asked about my day, my health, my feelings? We talk all the time. We talk about money, your mortgage, your car payments, your kids' expenses. When do we talk about me? Dad, you're sick. You're not thinking clearly. Classic. When caught, question my mental state. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years. Look, when you're feeling better, we'll discuss this properly. No, Rebecca, we're discussing it now. Dad, I'm done. I hung up. For the first time in 8 years, I hung up on Rebecca. It felt surprisingly good. That evening, I called Thomas Reed. Thomas has been my financial advisor for 12 years. Professional, discreet, and most importantly, thorough. When you're an accountant managing your own retirement, you need someone who thinks like you do. George, I heard about your hospital stay. How are you feeling? Like I need to make some changes, Thomas. Changes? Can you come by tomorrow afternoon? I want to review my portfolio. Of course. Is everything all right? Let's just say recent events have provided clarity. I'll be there at 2. Friday afternoon, Thomas arrived with a leather briefcase and the expression of someone who'd seen family drama destroy financial plans before. George, you sounded serious on the phone. Sit down, Thomas. We need to talk about Rebecca. His expression shifted. Financial advisors learn to read between the lines. What's going on? How much do you think I've transferred to Rebecca over the past 8 years? Thomas opened his laptop and pulled up my accounts. Let me calculate. Monthly transfers averaging $2,800 plus the extras. He typed quietly for several minutes. George, you've transferred approximately $296,000 to Rebecca since Linda's death. And how has this affected my retirement planning? Honestly, you're running through your savings much faster than anticipated. At this rate, you'll need to start liquidating investments within 3 years. 3 years. To cover my own living expenses because I'd been covering hers. What if the transfers stopped today? Completely? Completely. Thomas ran different scenarios. Your retirement would be secure. Conservative growth would actually rebuild some of the depleted principal. You'd be fine financially. And if they continued? You'd be in trouble by age 78, possibly earlier depending on healthcare costs. I sat back. Rebecca's entitled phone call yesterday made perfect sense now. She wasn't planning for my care. She was planning for my assets. Thomas, I need you to prepare some documents. What kind of documents? First, a complete financial history of every transfer to Rebecca, every payment, every date, every amount. I want 8 years of documentation. George, that's a lot of paperwork. I'm an accountant. I appreciate thoroughness. Thomas nodded, making notes. Second, I want options. Legal options, for stopping the transfers immediately. Any automatic payments can be canceled with proper notice. And third, I paused, thinking about Rebecca's hospital bedside absence. I need to review my will. Ah, Thomas had seen this before. Are you considering changes? I'm considering everything. George, you've been through a traumatic experience. Maybe we should wait a few weeks before making major decisions. Thomas, if I'd died Tuesday night, Rebecca would have inherited everything, while she was at a birthday party. That landed. She didn't visit the hospital? 3 days, not once. Thomas closed his laptop. What do you want to do? I want to understand my power. She's been treating me like an inconvenience while living off my savings. Time to see how she treats me when the money stops. That's significant. $2,800 monthly is significant. Rebecca should understand consequences. Thomas reopened his laptop. I'll have everything ready by Monday. Complete documentation, transfer cancellation options, and will review. Good. And Thomas? Yes? Prepare multiple scenarios. I want to know exactly what Rebecca stands to lose if she continues this behavior. How detailed? Down to the penny. Thomas smiled grimly. I'll prepare a presentation, charts, graphs, projections, the full accountant treatment. Perfect. After Thomas left, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Control. For 8 years, I'd been reactive. Rebecca needed money. I sent money. Rebecca canceled plans. I accepted cancellation. Rebecca dismissed my feelings. I swallowed my hurt. But money is power, and I'd been giving away my power monthly for almost a decade. Time to take it back. Saturday evening, Rebecca called again. Dad, I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday. Have you? Yes. And I think there was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Not an apology, not acknowledgement. A misunderstanding. What kind of misunderstanding? Well, you seemed upset about the money thing. The money thing. Nearly $300,000 reduced to the money thing. I wasn't upset, Rebecca. I was informative. Right. But I think you misunderstood our concern about your will. Did I? Yes. We're not thinking about inheritance. We're thinking about your care. Your care. While not visiting your hospital bed. My care. Yes. That's why Christopher suggested the financial planner, to make sure you're protected. Protected? From whom? Rebecca, I want to ask you something. Okay? Do you think I'm wealthy? Well, you're comfortable. Comfortable. While funding her luxury lifestyle. Do you think I can afford to send you $2,800 monthly indefinitely? Dad, you never said it was a problem. Never said it was a problem. Because she never asked if it might be. Answer the question. Do you think I have unlimited money? No, but you seem to manage fine. I seem to manage fine, because she'd never bothered to investigate. Rebecca, where do you think this money comes from? Your pension and Social Security? That's $1,500 monthly total? Silence. What? My pension and Social Security combined equal $1,500 monthly. Where do you think the other $1,300 comes from? Longer silence. I don't know. My savings, Rebecca. The money your mother and I saved for 40 years is funding your lifestyle. Dad, I had no idea. Because you never asked. You never said, I shouldn't have to explain why depleting my retirement to fund yours isn't sustainable. Dad, we can reduce the amount. Can you? Yes, we'll cut back. How much? Well, we could probably manage with $2,000 instead of $2,800. $2,000. Still more than my total retirement income. Rebecca, do you understand what I'm saying? You're saying money's tight. Money's tight. Like this was a budget adjustment instead of financial suicide. I'm saying I've given you $300,000 of my retirement. And we're grateful. Are you? Of course. When's the last time you said thank you? We say it all the time. When? Silence. Rebecca, when's the last time you called me without needing money? Dad, that's not fair. Answer the question. We called to check on you. When? Specifically when? Nothing. When's the last time you invited me to something without it being an afterthought? We include you in things. Christopher's birthday party? Silence. Emma's recital? More silence. Jake's soccer tournament? Dad, you don't like crowds. I don't like crowds. Since when? I don't like crowds, or you don't like including me. That's not... Dad, you're being unfair. Unfair. While missing 3 days of hospital visits. Rebecca, I need to tell you something. What? I'm stopping the monthly transfers. Dead silence. What? The $2,800 monthly. I'm stopping it. Dad, you can't do that. Can't. Not please don't, or we need to talk. Can't. Why can't I? Because we depend on it. We depend on it. Finally, honesty. For how long? What do you mean? How long do you plan to depend on my retirement savings? Dad, we never thought of it like that. Never thought of it, because thinking would require acknowledging reality. How did you think of it? As family helping family. Family helping family, while skipping family medical emergencies. Rebecca, family works both ways. We know that. Do you? Because when I needed family Tuesday night, where were you? Dad, I explained. You were at a party. Christopher's birthday was planned months ago, and my emergency was unplanned. Which took priority? Dad, that's not fair. We didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't answer your phone. We were busy. Too busy for a hospital call about your father. Dad, if we'd known it was serious, every hospital call is serious, Rebecca. Silence. Look, she continued, we'll visit more. We'll call more, but you can't just cut off the money. Can't cut off the money. Not, we'll appreciate it more, or we'll treat you better. Can't cut off the money. Why can't I? Because we have obligations. Emma's school, the mortgage, the cars. Your obligations. Dad, you helped us build this lifestyle. Helped you build, like I was a partner instead of a piggy bank. And now I'm helping you learn to maintain it yourselves. Dad, be reasonable. Reasonable, while being unreasonable about hospital visits. I am being reasonable. I'm being financially responsible. What if we visit more? Would you reconsider? What if we visit more? Treating affection like a negotiation. Rebecca, love isn't a transaction. I know that. Do you? Because you're literally trying to trade visits for money. That's not what I meant. What did you mean? I meant, we want to have a better relationship. Starting when? Starting now. Great. So you'll visit tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's difficult. Christopher's parents are still in town. Christopher's parents. Still the priority. What about Monday? Monday's busy with work. Tuesday? Emma has dance class. Wednesday? We usually do groceries Wednesday. Rebecca, are you hearing yourself? Dad will find time. Find time for the man funding their lifestyle. When? Soon. Soon. The same promise for 8 years. Rebecca, I'm 72 years old. I know. Soon might be too late. Dad, don't be dramatic. Dramatic. While unconscious for 3 days. I spent 3 days in intensive care, alone. We didn't know. You didn't care to know. That's not true. Prove it. How? Show up, without needing anything. Just show up. We will. When? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. More promises with no commitment. Rebecca, the money stops Monday. Dad, wait. It's done. Dad, please, let's talk about this in person. In person. Finally. When? This weekend? Today? Well, not today. Christopher's family is still here, I know. I hung up again. 2 days in a row. A new record. Sunday evening, Rebecca called back. Dad, we need to meet. Do we? Yes. This is too important to discuss over the phone. Too important. The money was too important. Our relationship wasn't important enough for hospital visits, but the money warranted face-to-face discussion. Where do you want to meet? How about the Heritage Club? Christopher's hosting a family gathering tonight. His parents are flying back tomorrow. The Heritage Club, where Christopher's birthday party had been, where Rebecca had been while I was unconscious. You want to discuss our family finances at Christopher's family gathering? Dad, these are all family. They care about you, too. They care about me, too. People I'd never met caring about me more than my daughter had this week. Rebecca, I don't think... Dad, please, we really need to talk. And honestly, Christopher thinks you're overreacting about the hospital thing. Christopher thinks I'm overreacting. About nearly dying alone. Christopher has thoughts about my medical emergency. He just thinks... Maybe we're making this bigger than it needs to be. Making this bigger. Nearly dying in an ICU while your daughter parties. What does Christopher think the appropriate size would be? Dad, don't be sarcastic. I'm being precise. What size medical emergency warrants skipping a birthday party? Silence. Look, can you just come tonight, 7:30? I looked at my watch. 6:15. Fine. Really? Really. Dad, that's great. We'll see you at 7:30. Rebecca? Yes. I'm bringing some documents. What kind of documents? Financial ones. Dad, is that necessary? You wanted to discuss money. I want to discuss numbers. I hung up and called Thomas. George, everything okay? Thomas, I need those documents tonight. Tonight? Family meeting at 7:30. Are they ready? I've got everything, but George, are you sure about this timing? I'm sure about the setting. What do you mean? Rebecca wants to discuss our finances at Christopher's family gathering, in front of people I don't know. She wants to air family business publicly? Apparently, Christopher's family deserves transparency about my overreaction. Your overreaction to what? Nearly dying without a family visit. Thomas paused. George, this sounds like a setup. It is, but not the kind they're planning. 7:30 sharp, I walked into the Heritage Club's private dining room. Christopher's parents were there. His sister. 2 couples I didn't recognize. Rebecca and Christopher sat at the head of the table like hosts. Dad, you made it. Rebecca stood up, overly bright. Everyone, this is my father, George. Smiles, handshakes. So glad you're feeling better. Rebecca told us about the hospital scare. Rebecca told them about the hospital scare. Interesting way to describe abandoning your father for 3 days. I sat down. Thomas arrived 5 minutes later with his briefcase. Dad, who's this? Thomas Reed, my financial advisor. Christopher's expression changed. Dad, I thought we were having a family discussion. We are, about family finances. Thomas keeps the records. Rebecca shot Christopher a look. Mr. Campbell, said Christopher's father, Rebecca mentioned you had some concerns about your will. Direct. I liked that. Did she? She's worried about your care as you age. Very responsible of her. Responsible. While missing my medical emergency. What exactly did Rebecca tell you about my care? That you live alone, had a health scare, might benefit from professional oversight. Professional oversight. Code for get control of his assets. Thomas, I said, could you share the financial overview we prepared? Thomas opened his briefcase and pulled out charts. Certainly. He spread documents across the table. Christopher's family leaned forward. This is Mr. Campbell's financial history with his daughter over the past 8 years. Silence. Thomas pointed to the first chart. Monthly transfers, $2,800. Duration, 96 months. Total, $268,800. Christopher's mother's eyes widened. That doesn't include extras, Thomas continued. Emergency transfers, vacation funding, home repairs. Those add approximately $30,000. So nearly $300,000 total, said Christopher's father. $298,700 to be precise. The room was quiet. Christopher's sister spoke first. Rebecca, you never mentioned your father was supporting you financially. It's not support, Rebecca said quickly. It's family help. Help with what? Asked Christopher's mother. Rebecca looked trapped. Just expenses. You know how expensive kids are. But Rebecca, said Christopher's father, you both work. Good jobs. What expenses require $30,000 annually in family assistance? Christopher jumped in. Her father offered to help. We didn't ask. Didn't ask. Fascinating revision. Thomas, I said, do you have Rebecca's payment requests? Thomas pulled out another folder. 8 years of text messages, emails, and phone call transcripts requesting financial assistance. He read from the top message. October 15th, 2016. Dad, can you help with the mortgage? Christopher's business is slow. Amount requested, $800. Christopher's face reddened. Thomas continued. December 3rd, 2016. Dad, we need a reliable car for the kids. Amount requested, $12,000 for down payment. January 20th, 2017. Dad, private school applications are due. Can you help with tuition? Amount requested, $1,600 monthly. The list continued. Christopher's family listened in silence. Request after request. Need after need. Emergency after emergency. 8 years of financial dependency. George, said Christopher's father finally, this is substantial. It's unsustainable, I replied. Dad, Rebecca said, you never said it was a problem. Rebecca, when's the last time you asked if it might be a problem? Silence. When's the last time you asked about my finances at all? Nothing. Christopher's mother spoke carefully. Rebecca, dear, where do you think this money came from? Dad's pension? My pension is $800 monthly, I said. Social Security? $700 monthly. Christopher's sister did the math quickly. That's $1,500 monthly income. You've been sending $2,800 monthly. Where does the extra $1,300 come from? Rebecca looked confused. His savings? Yes, I said. My retirement savings, mine and Linda's. George, said Christopher's father slowly, you've been depleting your retirement to fund their lifestyle? For 8 years. The room absorbed this. And this week, Christopher's mother asked, when you were in the hospital? Rebecca was here at Christopher's birthday party. For how long were you hospitalized? 3 days. And Rebecca visited? Never. Christopher's family turned to look at Rebecca. We didn't know it was serious, she said. The hospital called you 4 times Tuesday evening, Thomas said, consulting his notes. We were busy. With what? Asked Christopher's sister. Christopher's party. His 50th birthday. Rebecca, said Christopher's father quietly, you chose a birthday party over your father's medical emergency. It wasn't like that. What was it like? Asked Christopher's mother. Rebecca looked around the table. No allies. We thought Dad would understand. Understand what? That Christopher's family was in town, that it was a special occasion. Christopher's father spoke very slowly. Rebecca, your father nearly died. But he didn't. Wrong answer. The silence that followed was deafening. Christopher's father cleared his throat. George, what happens now? Direct question. I appreciated that. The financial support ends Monday morning. Dad, Rebecca shot up from her chair. We can work this out. Can we? How? We'll pay you back. How much? What do you mean? How much will you pay back? Monthly? Rebecca looked at Christopher. He was studying the table. We could probably manage $500 monthly. $500 monthly. To repay $300,000. Thomas pulled out his calculator. At 500 monthly, he said, it would take 50 years to repay the principal, without interest. We could do more, Rebecca said quickly. How much more? I asked. Maybe 800? Christopher's head shot up. Rebecca, we can't afford 800 monthly. The truth slipped out. They couldn't afford to repay me because they couldn't afford their current lifestyle without me. That's the problem, I said quietly. You've been living above your means for 8 years. Dad, we'll cut back. To what level? We'll figure it out. Figure it out. More empty promises. Christopher's mother spoke gently. Rebecca, dear, what will you do about your mortgage? Dad can help until we... No, I said firmly. I can't. The room went quiet. Dad, you can't just cut us off completely. Why not? Because we're family. Are we? Of course we are. When did you last act like family, Rebecca? She looked around the room for support. Christopher's family was studying their hands. We spend time together. When? When you need money? That's not fair. When's the last time you called me without asking for anything? Silence. When's the last time you invited me somewhere without it being an obligation? Nothing. When's the last time you asked about my day, my health, my feelings? Dad, you're being ridiculous. Ridiculous. In front of people who just learned I'd been funding her lifestyle while being emotionally discarded. Christopher's father spoke slowly. Rebecca, I think your father has a point. Dad Morrison, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You've been taking your father's retirement money while treating him like an inconvenience. That's not how it is, isn't it? You chose a birthday party over his medical emergency? It was a milestone birthday, and he might have died. Rebecca deflated slightly. Christopher finally spoke. Mr. Campbell, maybe we could work out a payment plan. Christopher, I said, what's your business income annually? That's personal. You're asking for access to my personal finances. Turnabout seems fair. Thomas consulted his notes. Based on the mortgage application co-signed by Mr. Campbell, Christopher reported $78,000 annually. And Rebecca? $52,000. So together you earn $130,000 annually. Before taxes, Christopher muttered. Before taxes, which means approximately $90,000 take-home. I looked around the table. They earn $90,000 annually. I've been sending them $34,000 annually. They've been living on a $124,000 lifestyle while earning $90,000. The math was stark. Christopher's sister spoke quietly. That's not sustainable. No, I agreed. It's not. Rebecca tried a different angle. Dad, what about the grandchildren? Emma and Jake need stability. The grandchildren card, of course. Rebecca, do Emma and Jake know their lifestyle depends on Grandpa's retirement savings? That's not. They don't need to know the details. Do they know why Grandpa wasn't at Emma's recital, Dad, or Jake's tournament? We can include you more. Starting when? Starting now. Prove it. How? Visit me. Without needing anything. Just visit. We will. When? This week. Which day? We'll call you. Call me. Not commit to a day. Call to schedule around their convenience. Christopher's mother had heard enough. Rebecca, she said firmly, your father has given you 8 years of financial support. He nearly died this week. You missed 3 days at his bedside. And you're still arguing about money? Mrs. Morrison, you don't understand our situation? I understand perfectly. You're in a situation where you can't afford your lifestyle without your father's retirement money. That's called living beyond your means. Christopher's father nodded. Rebecca, we raised Christopher to be financially responsible. What happened here? Christopher spoke quietly. We thought the help would be temporary. For 8 years? Asked his sister. Things kept coming up. Things always come up, said his father. That's why you budget for them. I stood up. Thomas, do you have the account closure forms? Right here. He handed me documents. I signed them while the room watched in silence. Dad, what are you doing? Closing the automatic transfers. Dad, wait. I'm also removing you as beneficiary from my primary checking account. Dad, please. And I'm scheduling a will review for Wednesday. The room was dead silent. Dad, you can't do this to us. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Rebecca, you did this to yourselves. We can change. You've had 8 years to change. We'll be better. You couldn't be better when I was dying in the hospital. That landed hard. Dad, I'm sorry about the hospital. Are you sorry, or are you sorry you got caught? She didn't answer. I picked up my car keys. George, called Christopher's father, for what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. I nodded. Thank you. Dad, wait! Rebecca followed me toward the door. We need that money. I turned back one last time. Rebecca, you need to learn to live without it. And I left. Monday morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls, all from Rebecca. The first voicemail was angry. Dad, you can't be serious about this. The second was bargaining. Dad, we'll pay you back faster. Just don't cut off the transfers. The third was desperate. Dad, please call me back. We need to talk. By voicemail 17, she was crying. Dad, the mortgage payment bounced. They're charging us overdraft fees. Please, we need help. I didn't return the calls. Tuesday brought a different approach. Text messages. Dad, Emma asked why you're mad at us. What do I tell her? Using the grandchildren. Again, I typed back, tell her Grandpa loves her but can't afford to fund your lifestyle anymore. Dad, that's harsh. It's honest. The car payment bounced too. I'm sure it did. Dad, we're going to lose the BMW. Then you'll have to find transportation you can afford. Dad, please. We're desperate. Desperate. After 8 years of my desperation for a real relationship with my daughter. Wednesday, Christopher called. Mr. Campbell, can we talk? About what? Finding a solution that works for everyone. What solution did you have in mind? Maybe reduce support while we transition? To what? To financial independence. How long would this transition take? Maybe 2 years? 2 years of continued dependence while they transition to independence they should have achieved 8 years ago. Christopher, what's your plan for finding an extra $3,000 monthly income? We're exploring options. Exploring options. Code for hoping you'll change your mind. What options specifically? Rebecca might pick up freelance work. Might. And I'm looking into expanding my business. Looking into. Mr. Campbell, we just need time. You've had 8 years. This is different. We understand the situation now. Do you? Yes. We know we've been financially dependent. Financially dependent. Finally, honesty. What else do you understand? Silence. Christopher? That we haven't been as appreciative as we should have been. And we should have visited you in the hospital. Should have. Past tense. Like it was a missed opportunity instead of a character choice. Anything else? We took you for granted? Took. Past tense again. Christopher, this conversation is past tense. Everything you're saying happened before. I don't understand. You're talking about what you should have done, what you took, what you understand now. What about what you will do differently? We'll visit more. When? Soon. When specifically? Silence. Christopher, you can't visit more while begging for money. It makes every interaction transactional. So what do you want us to do? Learn to live within your means. And then we can rebuild our relationship? Christopher, the relationship rebuilds when you stop seeing me as a bank account. I hung up. Thursday brought news from unexpected sources. Jennifer Walsh called, Rebecca's best friend for 15 years. George, I heard what happened. Did you? Rebecca told me about the money situation. All of it. Enough. George, I had no idea you'd been supporting them financially. Most people didn't. I want you to know, I always wondered how they afforded that lifestyle. Did you? Rebecca always had money for things that seemed expensive. Vacations, designer clothes, the kids' activities. It never matched their salaries. And now you know. George, I also want to say, I think you're doing the right thing. That surprised me. You do? Rebecca's been taking you for granted for years. We all saw it. All? Her friends. We talked about it. How she'd cancel on you, dismiss your stories, treat you like an obligation. But nobody said anything. It wasn't our place. But George, when you nearly died and she went to that party, that crossed a line. Yes, it did. She's angry right now, saying you're being cruel. Is that what you think? I think you're being honest. Finally. Friday brought the consequences I'd expected. The BMW got repossessed. Rebecca called, sobbing. Dad, they took my car, right from the driveway. The neighbors saw everything. I'm sorry that happened. Are you? Are you really sorry? I'm sorry you're experiencing the consequences of financial decisions you couldn't afford. Dad, that's cold. Rebecca, it's factual. We need help. You need to adjust your lifestyle to your actual income. Dad, please. Rebecca, I love you, but I'm done funding disrespect. We won't disrespect you anymore. You can't promise that under financial pressure. The relationship needs to be rebuilt without money involved. How long before you'll help us again? Still thinking in terms of resuming support. Rebecca, I'm not planning to help financially again. Ever? Ever? The silence was long. Dad, I don't understand how we got here. We got here one canceled dinner at a time, one missed visit at a time, one birthday party that was more important than my medical emergency. Dad, I'm sorry. I know you are, Rebecca, but sorry doesn't rebuild trust. What does? Time and different choices. How much time? I don't know, but it starts with you learning to live without my money. 6 weeks later, I was reading the morning paper when my doorbell rang. Rebecca stood on my porch. No Christopher, no demands, just my daughter, looking tired but determined. Hi, Dad. Hi, Rebecca. Can we talk? Of course. She came inside and sat on Linda's old chair. She looked around the modest living room like she was seeing it for the first time. Dad, your house is really nice. Thank you. I never noticed. You've kept it exactly like Mom had it. Mostly. The picture wall, the throw pillows, even her books. I like the continuity. Rebecca was quiet for a moment. Dad, I came to apologize. Really apologize. I'm listening. You were right about everything. We were living beyond our means. We were taking you for granted. I chose Christopher's party over your emergency. She paused. And I never said thank you. Not really. Not for 8 years of support that let us live better than we deserved. How are you managing now? Honestly, it's hard. We had to move. Smaller place, older cars. Emma and Jake had to switch schools. How are they handling it? Better than expected. Jake said the new school has a better baseball program. Emma likes being closer to her friend Sarah. And you? I'm learning what we can actually afford. It's humbling. Humbling can be healthy. Dad, I need you to know something about the hospital. What about it? I didn't answer because I was scared. Scared of what? Of seeing you weak, of facing that you might die, of dealing with loss again. She started crying. After Mom died, I couldn't handle the thought of losing you too, so I avoided anything that reminded me you were aging. Getting sick. Mortal. Rebecca. That's why I never asked about your finances, or your health, or your feelings, because asking meant acknowledging that you weren't just permanently there. I handed her tissues from Linda's side table, and then when the hospital called, I panicked. I convinced myself it wasn't serious, that you'd be fine, that I could deal with it later. But you couldn't. No, because later turned into 3 days, 3 days of lying to myself while you were alone. She wiped her eyes. Dad, I'm not asking you to resume the money transfers. Good. I'm asking for a chance to rebuild our relationship, without the financial dependence. What would that look like? Can I take you to lunch next Sunday? Just us. No agenda, no requests, no talk about money. I'd like that. And maybe you could come to Jake's baseball game next Saturday? I'd love to. Dad, one more thing. Yes? Thank you. For 8 years of support that let my children have advantages I couldn't have given them alone. You're welcome. And I'm sorry it took losing your money for me to remember that you're my father, not my bank account. We hugged. A real hug. The first one in years that wasn't obligatory or brief. After Rebecca left, I called Thomas. How are you feeling about everything? He asked. Good, different. Like I have my dignity back. Any regrets? None. The money is finite. My self-respect isn't... What's next? I'm thinking about travel. Maybe that cruise Linda and I always planned. You've got the resources for it now. Yes, I do. For the first time in 8 years, my money was mine again. My choices were mine again. My boundaries were clear and respected. Rebecca learned to live within her means. Our relationship became honest. Visits happened because we wanted to see each other, not because transfers were needed. Love shouldn't require financing disrespect. It took nearly dying for me to remember that. But I remembered just in time. If you're supporting someone financially who doesn't support you emotionally, ask yourself, are you helping them grow or enabling them to stay dependent? Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone fall, so they can learn to stand on their own. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments.